Hello Internet Land, Series 2, Episode 3 of Bring Your Own Ball here on FCUM TV. The political free zone that is the last bastion of taste and decency this side of Mumsnet. Now, if FC United were a conveyor belt, the guests on today's show would almost certainly be on that production line with lab coats, clipboards, and most certainly a lanyard of some sort or other. Think of it as a tribute to Joss's Giants without a guest appearance from Brian Robson. Half-time oranges to come. Roll titles. Now, it's well known that FC United have the best gigs anywhere in Manchester outside the Ritz, and here you get to keep your mobile phone when you come out. Yes, it's FC United legend Rodriggs. Rodri, welcome to Broadhurst again. Not the first time you've been here.
No, I've been here 3 or 4 times now, but let's say it's coming on. It's looking really nice.
We'll take a trip forward in time because this is going to be a place of work. Let's go back in time first. Not the first spell at FC United, but tell us your best and worst memories of the club.
Worst memory was definitely last year, Ashton, for me. Or possibly leaving. I didn't really want to leave, but I did. Best memory is obviously winning the league and double. First league I was there. First time I was there.
You mentioned you didn't want to leave. You came back though. Your relationship with Marv must have been well up and down over the years.
No, not really. We always got on. It was just. He was right in what he said when it all happened, when they asked me to leave, but probably I regretted it, and so did he, to be honest, because that was probably my best years.
Yeah. And what, you've sorted it all out now?
Yeah, we always stayed friends. We always spoke to each other. There's always mutual respect there, and we always got on. We played together a long time, so we always got on.
And you mentioned Ashton there. I mean, the lads, I seem to say this every season, but we must be just really, really anxious to avoid that kind of end of season again.
Yeah, definitely. I think it's 4 times now, 4 times in the playoffs. But we've got the experience now. Obviously, we've been through that before. Just needs a few people to step up. I'm sure we will do.
Like talking about worst memories in your time here, Jerome was on when he had a really tough time last year. And it's been a mad few years for you, not wanting to go into anything specific. Is that what makes it a special club? Are the people rallying around you in those times?
It's definitely a friendly club. I was at Salford at the time when some problems happened and they wasn't very supportive, but since I've been here, they've been brilliant. It was brilliant when the first time I was here, when I had a baby, they'd bought me a baby shirt. They look after people. It's a proper club.
So you're glad to be back. You're managing now. You were taking your coaching badges. Also, obviously you're managing. You mentioned Salford, managing there. How's it different looking after the reserves here from how it is? You know, explain to me the main differences, how it affects your day-to-day job when you're looking after it's younger players at this level, really, isn't it?
Well, in Salford, it was all about results and winning games. It's not so much, although I want to win, it's not so much winning. It's about progressing and developing the players that we've got, bringing the players like Frank Van Gils, like John Pritchard, like Lewis Lacing, and others coming through, and that's my job, and Paul and Chuks' job to bring them through to the first team.
7 wins in the league out of 11, and top as well of the table, and unbeaten at home. So it's looking good. Yeah,
it's looking good. We've got a good group. We have a couple from the first team. We have obviously my own players and the players in the scholars that come through. So it's difficult because you can't work with them all the time at training, but it's enjoying.
You've had your eye on management for a while, haven't you? So where do you think you'll end up? Because you were taking your badges just while working all the time anyway.
We just take it every day as it comes, and I'm enjoying it. What I'm doing here, just try and progress and see what happens.
Every day as it comes. You're already on the management speak. Do you go on a course for that as well? Were you waiting for? About this time last year, there was talk of you playing for Sierra Leone. And it's a really interesting setup they've got there, isn't it? Johnny McKinstry's like 28 in charge of them. What happened there? Nothing seems to come of it.
news to me. No one ever contacted me. All I remember is eating my cornflakes and watching on Sky Sports. There was no way on earth that I would sign for a play for Sierra Leone on Welsh only.
You would be qualified to play for him, but was that news to you as well?
No, I know my families originate from Freetown, Sierra Leone, so I knew that. So I knew I could play for him if I wanted to, but no, I'm Welsh and I would only play for Wales.
Never been there, and it's completely alien, isn't it? Because loads of people's families are from Sierra Leone as well. I think Nathaniel Chalabar is at Chelsea. I asked him the same question. He was like, "What?"
My great grandparents were born in Sierra Leone, Freetown, and come over to Cardiff in 1960s, I think. And that's where I got from. Yeah.
But as far as you're concerned, you're Welsh. Nothing.
No, there was no chance of me playing for Sierra Leone. I don't know where it even come from. No one even contacted me. I don't know where it come from.
Honorary mention for Sky Sports anyway. Very unusual that on Bring Your Own Ball. Maverick touch. So finally, this is going to be a place of work. You look around now, what do you feel? I suppose it's even more important to you to move here. Now you're in the management setup, because it's about bringing all the setup together.
Well, yeah, obviously it's good that we'll be able to train in the same place and have the full facilities and use a full pitch and just be able to train properly. It'll be good.
What's your favourite bit of it so far?
Everything. It's just the pitch looks tremendous, apart from a little bit in the corner, but I'm sure they'll sort that out. Everything. We just had a little walk round, me and Brighty. It looks good. It looks really good. Just can't wait to get in here.
Now, like a lovely raspberry ripple ice cream, we can now see clear bits of red in Broadhurst Park. More on that shortly with your friend and mine, Dr. K. Another edition of Bang Goes the Marv to come shortly too. But first, embrace like a warm winter's cuddle the latest news from the club with Cockers.
Thanks, Andrew. Here are the main club news headlines from the past month. First up, an FC United's loan stock scheme has been recognised after it won the People's Champion pitching competition at the Good Deals Conference held in London last week. The FC United loan stock scheme, which was launched less than a month ago with the aim of raising £200,000 to help finance the build and fit out of the club's new ground in Moston, has already proved popular, with over £70,000 secured to date. Also this past month, the club established a new supporters branch. FC United Manchester's 18 to 30 branch is a creation from the result of a young supporters survey, which was targeted at the young fans of the club in September. The survey, which was completed by over 150 people, concluded that young members at the club were extremely interested in creating their own supporters branch in order to help improve the number of the next generation at the club. Meanwhile, FC United striker Mike Norton has been ruled out of action for up to 3 months after suffering an injury in the Reds' 0-0 home draw with Blythe Spartans in late October. Norts was on the receiving end of a heavy challenge which ruptured the posterior cruciate ligament in his knee, and he will now need an operation to help repair the damage. And on the pitch, FC remain in the top half of the table, and at time of recording was still in the FA Trophy, so onwards and upwards. Back to you, Andrew.
Yeah! Get it, Greasy! Get it! And number 7, what's the score now, lad?
Still to come, Paul Bright and Chuks from the FC United youth setup. Slightly quicker walking now, as this link isn't very long. It's now time for one of those special films from Dr. K. Slow it down a bit, realised I need to walk out of shot. See it here first before it's repeated on the Discovery Channel. I've gone backwards, I'm nowhere near you, you're looking at a road. What are you doing? Do something better with your life. Here's the latest from Broadhurst Park here in Moston.
Right, well, it's the 24th of November and it's the first really cold day of the year. Here we are. As you can see, the grass is looking gorgeous. A little bit of extra work was done on the drainage, but now isn't nature wonderful how it's all grown back? And behind me, you can see the first part of the red stand in the east has arisen. We just stood and watched as that crane has been moving those bits of steel, so it's looking good. And here we are at one of the turnstiles at the Lightbound Road end, and as you can see, it's all been rendered and the finishing touches are being put onto the turnstile. The light's being put on. The FC diggers came here yesterday, and all down this bank we planted daffodils, so that'll be really nice in about March or April. Okay, well, here we go. Look at this now. We're red, white and black to our core. Even the wiring is red, white and black. I think that's great. Well, we stood here on the halfway line where that yellow piece of string is, you can see, and the light when the light shines through the main stand, through the red at the back, it looks really, really good. And you can get that brilliant view of the seating done in the colours of the scarf. Whoever's idea that was, fantastic. Well, we can't get too close to that end today because of the crane lifting big bits of steel, but we've just been stood here watching while they put the big piece of metal into the roof. They had to put the last piece of concrete at the back first before they could carry on with the steel. Here we are at the other light-bound road end, turnstiles. As you can see, the render's looking really, really good. And this has all been tarmacked right up the way up to the entrance. Lovely bits of wood on the front and even a balcony. Well, here we are on the inside, and we're in the foyer, which is just through the main doors. We've actually got doors on, 2 sets of doors, and there's some really nice lights up here. I don't know if you can see them. And then spotlights being put, down lights there, and then these really smart ones. So here we are in what's going to be the office space. You've got lovely big windows there, great view. Absolutely, loads of plug sockets starting to take shape. So, Andy, how's it going?
Slowly.
Yeah.
Too slowly for our liking, really, but we're getting there. We made some significant progress last week. The power was on. We've been in some legal wranglings with the network connection, but that's been finalised. So we got power on last week, which was a big success. This week, commission of all the services in the building has begun in earnest. So all the lighting, gas and water, that's all being commissioned. There's a few weeks of that to be done, and when that's been completed, we can then complete the floor in here. We've got some ceilings and lighting to go in here next week. Outside on the artificial pitch, most of it is now complete. We're just cutting in the lines now for the pitches, and then the sand and the rubber crumb base is due to be put into the carpet. That's a bit weather dependent, that. So everybody needs to keep the fingers crossed that we don't get too much rain in the next week or two for that infill to be put in. But the company we've got working on that are specialists in this area, and they've got the right equipment to do it. So we're working closely with them and keeping monitoring on that. And then also you can see, no doubt, that the St Mary's Road end is starting to appear and starting to move a bit quicker. Again, we've had some difficulties over delivery of concrete. That's now been resolved, so as we stand there, 2 loads are arriving today. Each bay gets loaded with the concrete, and then the next bay is then constructed and then gets loaded with concrete. So it's there's a lot of coordination in that, because we haven't got any room on site to bring all the materials here, so we can only bring the concrete in as it's needed, and that takes a lot of organising. So we are making progress. Yeah. It's just going painfully slowly at the moment.
I suppose, these things always seem to take longer than you expect, don't they? But every day it's getting closer.
Yeah, they do, and anybody who's watched the Kevin McLeod programme will know that that's the case. We are keeping the pressure on, and we're still hoping to be able to take ownership of the building pre-Christmas, because there's lots of things for us still to do in here. One of the elements of the project has been about us finding cheaper ways of doing things than getting them done by the main contractor. So we've got volunteers and supporters who are willing to come in and do different bits for us. Well, we can do that only once we've taken ownership of it and occupancy of it, and that involves a conversation with the council to allow us to do that, as well as coordination with the main contractor. Those conversations are ongoing. Hoping we'll still be able to take occupancy of this before Christmas. And then when the St Mary's Road end is finished, we've then got to put the join in the corner, and that's got to be coordinated, because that's a couple of other companies that need to be involved in that. We're still aiming to get first match in here before the end of January.
Right. Okay. And this space here is fantastic with these windows, and so you can actually stand in the bar, have a drink and watch the football at the same time.
It's fantastic in here, in that we've got behind us here. You can see the alcoves where the folding walls will go, so we can actually split this up into 3 different spaces. So this is one of the areas where we've got to fit out, because we've taken responsibility for doing the bar, So at this far end down here, where that scaffold tower is, that's where the main bar will be. And we've got a guy coming on site this week to start that. Here where we're stood, we'll have a couple of mobile bars, and at that end we'll have another mobile bar as well. So there'll be plenty of things for us still to do in here. We've been getting furniture and equipment from auctions and begging and borrowing stuff off people. That's all currently in storage, and that we need to get that delivered to site and then get it all fitted. Just this morning, Darren Lyons has been here, our first team coach. He's brought a kitchen that's got donated by the people he works with. That's been put in here. So that's been installed downstairs, so he's just been bringing a bit more of that in. So it's, you know, there's lots for us still to do, but it's progress is being made.
Yeah, it's fantastic.
Thank you.
Won't be too long. Okay, well that's it for November's report. As you can see, a lot's happened in the last month. It's not finished yet, but we're getting closer and closer, so don't panic, we'll be in soon.
Dr. K there in Moston. Now, in many ways, football is a constant battle with old Mother Time, and we all know who wins in the end. Even the great Ashley Grimes had at one point to hang up his boots. But who produces the Ashley Grimeses of the future, but in the context of FC United? That's right. It's a double act that ironically sounds like it's straight from the world of children's entertainment. Paul, Bright and Chuks.
Obviously, a lot of the lads are new to the programme. We've picked them up earlier in the year through the exit trials and through recommendations. So I think as a team, they're still getting used to playing with each other. They're still getting used to mine and Chuks' style and the philosophy of the club as well. So that's going to take time to bed in. Also, I think we've still got a lot of work to do with them. You know, the talent and the ability is there. It's about kicking on now. They're training full time, whereas obviously fresh out of school, where they were training 2-3 times a week max, they're in every day with us. So it's about off the pitch as well, trying to educate them around nutrition, around watching and analysing the game and analysing their own performances as well. But I'm confident, and Chuks is confident as well, that we will get there with them. It's going to take time. You know, the young players still got loads to learn. It's just about going on the journey, really.
For this season, Chuks, there's still 6 months of it left. What are the targets between now and May?
Two trophies. Improve players to the two reserve teams and to the first team.
You like it, you straightforward. You think you can win trophies this season?
Oh yes, oh definitely yes.
Paul, clear up your role, because obviously you came in May. This Broadhurst Park development will be pretty big to your job as well.
Yeah, I wear a number of different hats within my role, so to speak. Being employed.
This is the best one, isn't it?
Yeah, this is my favourite one. But yeah, I've got a number of different roles within the club. Obviously, I work as the academy manager with Chuks and with the full-time youth players, and not just on the pitch. It's off the pitch stuff, the education as well. But as well as part of my role as community sports development manager, it's making sure that this site, when it's up and running, is a real sporting hub for the community. We are a community-based club. You know, we're not just any other football club. We're not going to shut our doors and our gates once our teams have trained and once our people have been in. It's about the wider community. It's about being open to all, making sure that this is used 24/7, more or less, really, as much as we can get usage out of the facility and empower the local community. Different sports, different education programs, different social events. Just get people coming and using the facility. You know, football clubs, by their very nature, were set up as social enterprises back in the day, you know, 100 years ago. So I think we're very in touch with the community and with our fan base and our members and co-owners. And this is going to be a place where it will feel like home to everybody. So can't wait to get in. I'm sure everyone feels exactly the same. And there's a lot of good work that we're doing. But I think when we come into Broadhurst Park, it's really going to focus everything, and we can deliver some of the stuff what we deliver across Manchester and the wider area. Not to say that we'll stop doing that, but this is going to give us a real focal point, really. And it's going to be inspiring, I think, for players, fans, for people just involved and interested in sport, in football, or anything else, really. It's going to be an inspiring place. That's what I'm hoping from it.
You're all over the club mantra. I mean, you're involved in FC United for about 18 months anyway before you got this gig, and obviously your background in Man United's academy and the England national colleges and that, you're well placed to deliver all that.
Yeah, but it's not just about me. It's you know, the people that I've got alongside me with Chuks, working with Rodriggs, working with Brownie, Daz and the gaffer. You know, there's so much I'm taking from those guys as well. It's not just about me coming in and saying, look at my experiences. It's the best fit and trying to get everybody moving in the right direction and to be better and to improve all the time. And I think, you know, one of the biggest reasons I came into the club was working closely with Chuks and Jonesy and the gaffer at the Manchester College. You know, they sold the club to me. I really bought into that philosophy of what the club is trying to do as a community-based football club, and the potential here is absolutely massive. The game of football never changes. You know, it's 11v11 on the pitch, and you can analyse it, and you've got strategies and formations and trends as in anything. But it's the wider things around that, the influence and the impact we can have as a club, I think is going to be massive, and I'm very lucky and fortunate to be here.
And Chuks, you've got a new role as well in this role of FA mentor that was announced. What does it involve? How do you go about it? It's to do with respect, but as well playing the game the right way.
It's actually in the new FA program implemented to actually improve the standard of players. So I did apply for the job. I went through a rigorous screening exercise, 3 interviews to be honest, and then I was luckily asked to fulfill that role, which involves me going around standard charter clubs that have indicated the need for help to help them speak to the coaches all across Manchester.
So what does it involve day to day? How do you help them? How do you go about it?
It's actually bespoke. Each club goes to the FA and then tell them we have got so problem, either match day coaching. So I now go into those clubs, speak to the coaches, and then help out with the training of the players, advising them about everything attached to how to improve players.
And you've been working towards your A licence as well. What are your long-term ambitions?
No, nothing.
One day at a time?
One day at a time.
One game at a time.
One game at a time. 90 minutes is the next 90 minutes. FC is actually, we don't forget where it all came up from. 6 people, 10 people, 12 people sat down one day and said we wanted change, and then that is the change that's been brought about. So I actually think I can contribute to what's on in the ground coaching wise. So I need, and then for me to be able to do that, I've got to get educated more and then more qualified. So that's me.
As far as the youth and reserve setups go, then, gents, finally, if I could give you both one wish here at FC United, what would it be?
For me, it's to keep pushing players into the frame for the first team. That's ultimately what we're set up to do. Rodders will tell you the same. We want our players and the youth and the reserve team players to be knocking on the door of the first team, because what that does, it raises the standards across the board. When you're being challenged, everyone raises the game, and that's the environment. That's come from the gaffer, it's come from everyone we work. That's the environment we want to create, where no one can come in and take it easy. We want everyone to always be looking to improve, to strive to be better. So for me, like Chuks said, I'm a bad loser. I know Chuks is a bad loser. We want to win, of course we want to win, but for me it's not at the detriment of player development at this youth and reserve team level. They've got to learn how to go about things the right way. So to answer your question, we want players prepared and ready to go into the first team and do a performance and be an option for the gaffer for me.
Add to that, Chuks.
Improvement. Every player that actually walks through the doors of the youth team should get better. How much they now get better depends on them, but we should actually facilitate them getting better, because that's what we're actually here for.
Now, the producers here at FCUM TV like to think of themselves as a collection of trendsetters in waiting. The thing for which they're waiting being a trend, and some people for whom to set it. The trend at FC United, though, is even more tangible than when Granada Reports did that item on people wearing flares about 2 years after everyone started wearing flares. And to prove it, here's a man with so much flair, his name is Bangles the Marv.
Qu'est-ce que la mort? Je sais pas. Quelle est la perte? Je sais cela. Elle est une de mes amies qui m'accompagnait partout. Je ai pleuré assez de larmes et senti le jaune du lait qui ne s'est yvé. Elle est là comme un tasse totalement vide. Elle est là comme un sandwich à pas de pain. Être là quand je prends une douche. Mon cœur est une tarte aux pommes, sans les pommes. Vous sentez-vous à perdre? Avez-vous envie de quelque chose de plus de la vie? FCUM, quelque chose de plus.
And to think people have been critical because they say that this output is becoming something near professional. I think we've safely put paid to that as I walk through this mud and you can make out the reflection of the camera crew in the glass behind me. This is actually the only bit of Broadhurst Park that's still a mess as we await the installation of the £400,000 plaque that marks Andy Walsh's car parking space. December's episode is next month. We couldn't get that moved. We're going to be having a Secret Santa. Just wait until you find out who the Secret Santa is. It's no wonder it's a secret. You, me and Operation U-Tree all thought he was no longer with us. Follow us on FCUM.tv for all the interviews and highlights, and there's hot hashtag Twitter action at FCUMTV. Big thanks to my guests, Paul Bright, Chuks and Rodriggs, and of course our wonderful contributors, Cockers, Marv and Dr. K. As the camera starts to pan up, that means it must be the end of this episode, and from a glorious Broadhurst Park, I bid you good day, sir.